Do you ever notice how people say DJI instead of DJI? It's been going on for over 10 years and it drives me nuts. DJI, not DJI, but you'll hear DJI everywhere.
Your story, your world, all in one pocket. Meet the new Osmo Pocket 4.
So right here, I have the Osmo Pocket 3. I've been using it since it came out. It's really nice. Of course, you can't get DJI products in the US anymore unless you know where to look, or you go with some of the other brands that are basically DJI, just rebranded as something else. I think Extra is one of them, but there's a few out there. This is the Pocket 3, but now they have the Pocket 4, and I just want to talk about it because I think this is a really promising camera as far as what the future of production looks like.
Upgraded 1-inch CMOS sensor records 4K slow motion at 240 frames per second.
4K 240 in a pocket-sized camera. This is absurd. If you told me about this just 5 years ago, it would have blown my mind, and it still blows my mind today.
You're always ready to shoot with 107 gigabytes of built-in storage.
Now, I'm not sure if I like this or not. The built-in storage, yes, is really nice. It's faster than an SD card, but the fact that it's tied to the device and you're paying for it, where in the future, if you want to use that card somewhere else, we just can't take it out. I don't know how I feel about the built-in storage. I'm sure there's pros and cons either way. I'm kind of skeptical. I kind of wish it was just an SD card, but regardless, it's not a deal breaker.
Osmo Pocket 4 now films in true 10-bit D-Log.
This is the huge one. 10-bit D-Log, 14 stops, a dynamic range for the regular Pocket 4. We're not even talking about the Pro yet.
14 stops of dynamic range for cinematic depth. 3-axis mechanical stabilization keeps your footage smooth.
And this is one of the, of course, main benefits of the Osmo Pocket whatever. On the Pocket 3, it's got the built-in gimbal, so there's nothing to rig, there's nothing to balance, it's just ready to go when you are. And I really prefer this over an action camera or any other small pocketable device where you don't have stabilization. The moment you mount it to anything, it's going to be shaking and rattling based on the movement of what it's attached to. You can put something like this on your camera, in the corner, on a car, whatever, wherever you want to put it, it's going to stay super smooth because that's the whole point of something like this. And I think it's kind of become the best new way to shoot this style of production.
Times lossless zoom delivers clear close-ups. Start tracking with the simple wave.
They skipped over it in the audio for some reason. Let's go back. Like the specs are just on screen, but the narration doesn't say what it is. So you've got easy recording with the DJI microphones. Of course, you can just direct connect. Now it doesn't say on here if this is 32-bit float or not. I'm going to assume it's not, which would be nice to see, right? I think in the future, just everything should be 32-bit float as a standard. We can just say it as one of the checklist items. Yep, it's got 32-bit float. We're good. It doesn't look like this has it. They just kind of breeze over it. So
simple wave.
It is what it is.
While the improved active track ensures you're always in frame.
Now, those examples look a lot better than the active track I've managed to get out of the Pocket 3. It does work, it does track, but it always has kind of this hunting nature, and I've never been able to find in the settings if there's a way to customize this or dial it in, maybe with the Mimo app, or maybe there's some fancy, deep, buried way to actually adjust the performance of it, but I've always found that it's a little skittery, a little just too kind of all over the place as far as the active track goes. So it does seem like they're improving it with the Pocket 4 and the 4 Pro, so I would assume it's better, but you know, it's hard to tell from marketing material. I would look elsewhere for people's opinions on that because it's not really something I've used a whole lot on the Pocket 3 just because it's been a little too erratic for my taste.
Spatial audio delivers sound from every direction.
Spatial audio, fancy.
To start recording, just make a simple peace sign. Go live and share your creation.
The gesture things, do people actually use gestures? I've never used gesture-based controls because it just seems unreliable. I want the satisfaction of clicking the button and seeing the red dot, knowing for sure that I'm recording, versus like holding up a peace sign and hoping and praying that it actually registered. Maybe it works better than I'm assuming, but I don't want to leave it up to chance.
World, while activating the Beautify mode for natural radiant skin. Osmo Pocket 4 features 6 built-in film tones.
Okay, the built-in film tones, that's nice, I guess, but I don't know. Who's not doing their own color work these days? Whether it's in an app or software, I guess it's nice to be built right in. I just frankly find that the built-in profiles, even the ones they're showing, they're always so heavy-handed with the grades. Like that is over the top with that look. We're going to wash it all out with yellow. I don't know. Maybe it's for somebody. Maybe you like this style, but it just seems that the built-in profiles from any of these companies should be a lot more subtle, a lot more nuanced, and less of this over-the-top, ridiculous, just, I don't like it.
Film tones, paired with the upgraded 5D joystick, unlocking endless creativity.
Super cool, 5D joystick, okay, great. Fast transfer via USB-C. So here's what that built-in storage is paying off, 800 megabytes a second. That is actually quite nice, considering a lot of times if you do have a slower SD card, you know, it's gonna take longer to transfer. And maybe that's where they're able to get some of those things like the 4K 240, because it's guaranteed, hey, the storage built in is fast enough. So I like it for that.
And now there is a better low light mode. With the new magnetic fill light, you have the power to keep shooting even after the sunset. This is Osmo Pocket 4, really nice. Designed so you can focus on your story.
And this isn't even the better one. This isn't even the good one. We've also got the Pocket 4 Pro, which let's see if we can go scoop up a video for the Pocket 4 Pro from DJI. Not DJI. Stop saying DJI. Come on now. Pocket 4P. Here we go. Absolute cinema. Wide angle lens, 20 millimeter format. See, this is what I'm talking about. I don't know why these full frame lens manufacturers are sleeping on the 20 millimeter focal length. I've said this for years now. It's a great focal length. And I wish we had a zoom lens that started at 20 millimeters, went to 50 millimeters, you know, wonderful, glorious range. And look what they did here. They did a 20 millimeter paired with a 60 millimeter. I'd like to see 50 on that telephoto, on that mid-tele lens. But regardless, 20 millimeters is an excellent wide angle focal length. We're not getting that crazy distortion of 16 or even 18. 20 is this beautiful sweet spot. I'm glad to see DJI has recognized that. Now I'm waiting for the rest of you lens manufacturers to just dial in 20 millimeters. That's what we want. And of course, the fast apertures on the DJI, you know, they're fast, but it's a smaller sensor. So, you know, you're not going to get ultra super duper shallow depth of field, but that's not why you're here for this type of camera anyway. Of course, you got some extra zoom, you know, you can do optical and digital zooming on these cameras. So that's nice to see. 12x zoom, cool. You can get some super detailed close-ups. The smoothness, 4K 240 again on the 4 Pro. That's what you would expect. But now we've got those two lenses, which are essentially two cameras all in one. Very, very nice. But there are a few little bit, they might be deal breakers. I don't know yet, but I'm a little cautious with this one. 17 stops at dynamic range. Now there's no narration on this video like there was. The other one was very just spoon feeding you all the nice stuff. I could listen to it and just hear all those great specs. This one, I've got to read everything. That's totally fine. 17 stops at dynamic range. Now they're doing this by embracing this new technology called LOFIC. I think that's how you say it. LOFIC. It's basically every photo site on the sensor, from my understanding, has an additional kind of well where once the first photo site fills up, there's this spillover effect and it can capture additional light if needed. Super cool technology. Glad to see it. And we're getting 17 stops at dynamic range on a tiny sensor. Imagine bringing this to Micro Four Thirds, APS-C, Super 35, even full frame cameras. This is the future we're headed towards. 18, 19, 20 stops at dynamic range, I'm sure. And it's just being utilized now on the smaller sensor cameras, but the results will pay off enormously, I'm sure, on the larger sensor cameras in the future. So if you think digital cameras are dead and they've peaked and it's over and go home boys, we're done, think again. There is more technology coming in the future. I'm sure it's going to be wonderful and glorious when it gets here. And so anyone who says that cameras are over and we've peaked, I don't know, go listen to somebody else. To take advantage of those 17 stops of dynamic range, you're going to need to use the D-Log2 picture profile or color profile, whatever you want to call it. Log isn't really a picture profile, but you know what I mean. It's a way to shoot. You're shooting logs and you're using D-Log2 to get those 17 stops, but it is only from that wide camera, the telephoto, that mid-tele lens, the 60 millimeter. That is still limited to the old technology, the old sensor that only does the 14 stops of dynamic range or whatever. So you got to shoot D-Log1 for that one and D-Log2 for the wide. And this is where I think it's kind of frustrating that they went this route. Having the two cameras with the two lenses, but two different sensors and two different log profiles. As a user, I find that incredibly frustrating because now I have to pick the lowest common denominator, meaning D-Log1, meaning the reduced option, even though I've got a camera that's clearly capable of so much more, but I can only use it in these restricted circumstances. And this is where I wish they had just gone all out, given us the 17 stops of dynamic range on both sensors with both lenses, give us all that range to work with and not be compromised so we can shoot D-Log2 with both cameras. It just makes so much sense as a shooter, someone who's using a device like this. I don't want to be thinking about which log profile was that? What camera do I want to? No. Just have it be universal. That way there's no sacrifice or compromise or trade-off when you're picking between the two. If it's the Pro, it should just have all of it all the time. Yes, get your gimbal shot of the lemons, buddy. All right, so there you can take photos as well. Incredible. Imagine a camera that can shoot video and photo all in one, because guess what? Sometimes you want to shoot video and sometimes you want to take a photo. Great gimbal shots. Now I wonder, are they shooting the behind the scenes? Is it another person with another DJI Osmo Pocket 4 Pro shooting someone? Like it must be, right? All the movement. Is this shot on the same camera they're showing? I just imagine how funny that is. It's almost camera inception. The layers of filming, the behind the scenes of the thing cracks me up every time. All right, so we got better active track 8.0. It says they tracks the subjects at any set focal length. Quite nice. I hope it's less jittery than what I've got on the Pocket 3, but I assume it is. It's got to be better. Okay, all right, low light video, clear night shots. You get the same fill light. That's nice. Some compatibility there between the 4 and the 4 Pro, the 4P. I don't know what people call it. 4K in-camera live photo for vivid moments. I don't know if I'd ever use that. What did they say? Multi-person? What? Multi-person tracking everyone in focus. Well, how are they? Okay, I mean, nice. Maybe there's some software fanciness going on there. But I think in all regards, the 4P is the better option. If I had to pick between the Osmo Pocket 4 and the 4P, 4P clearly wins just for that 20mm 17 stops dynamic range, D-Log2, of course. But I hate that they paired it with a camera that also is not the same, that does D-Log1 with like the 14 stops dynamic range, which is, mind you, still impressive, still great for a camera, of course. Like, don't feel like 14 stops is anything to sneeze at. It's great, but just why not do both? Is there some limitation I'm unaware of? Why not put the same sensor in both for both lenses so everything just is compatible and universal and you don't have to think about it? I think this retails for like $700, $800 US, but of course it's DJI, so you can't buy it in the US, so maybe like, I don't know how you get your hands on it, but charge $1,000 if that's what it costs to get the better sensor in there. Just round up, $9.99 and call it a day, and just give us something that is the best of all the worlds. Because now I'm looking at this going, well, shoot, eventually there's going to be an Osmo Pocket 5, of course, and there'll be an Osmo Pocket 5P or 5 Pro, whatever you want to call it. And that's probably going to do what I'm talking about, having the D-Log2 profile and the better sensor in both cameras. Surely, right? That's the next move. They'll come out with another device in the future in 2 or 3 years, however long it takes, and that'll be the Pocket 5, and that'll be the actual good one to get. Do you get this now, or do I just stick with the Pocket 3? What are your thoughts? Do you have one? Are you going to buy this one? I'm really torn. That's why I wanted to put this together, because I really don't know the answer. I'm very happy with the Pocket 3, although considering some of the new features in the 4 and the 4P, of course, it would be an upgrade, but is it worth the upgrade? I'm struggling to find that really the thing that's going to push me over the edge, which would have been both cameras just matching. Having the extra camera is nice, but if it creates this friction with how I'm shooting, thinking of which profile I'm in, thinking of how I'm going to handle post-production, these are not problems I want to invent for myself. Of course, right now I only have the one camera with the one lens. So having two is arguably the smarter choice. It is a better upgrade. But the other thing you can't do on this camera that is frustrating to me is that you can't record both cameras at the same time, at least to my knowledge. If I'm wrong, please correct me in the comments, but you have to pick what you're recording. And you might say, well, that makes sense. But there are plenty of times where you want two cameras recording the same thing at the same time. If I buy something like this and I have two cameras right there, it feels like a limitation to have to pick which one I'm recording at the time and cutting between the two of them, especially when they don't match in terms of color profile and all that. So why can't I record with both simultaneously? That way I'm always getting the D-Log2 stuff with the 17 stops dynamic range. I can punch in, and yes, with the compromised footage, the 14 stops D-Log1, shouldn't I be able to record both? And doesn't it have that built-in storage? Shouldn't I be able to do that? At least for shooting, let's say like 4K 24, not 4K 240 simultaneous. Of course, that's ridiculous. That's probably overkill. Someone out there probably wants it or needs it, but I'm just asking for the bare minimum of, can I just shoot with both cameras at the same time, 4K 24? That would be really, really nice. Because otherwise I can just shoot with this and get a little closer or zoom in digitally, right? There's workarounds, there's ways to do it. I could put this on another camera, which I've done in the past, to shoot 2 cameras, 2 angles at the same time. If you're gonna give me both cameras in one device, make them match and make them both useful at the same time. Please, DJI. I'm not even calling you by DJI. I'm getting your name right. We'll see.